Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today we have a very special guest for you, Artin Safarian. Artin is the president of Arminco, Inc. out of Northern Virginia. Welcome to the show, Artin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. So as I was mentioning before we hit record, I like to get the audience to get to know you a little bit personally. Did you grow up around the DMV area, or where are you from?
Sure. Originally, I'm Armenian. I was born in Iran, actually, and my family immigrated here. And we first went to Los Angeles, LA, California. And that's where, I went to elementary school, middle school, and then in the middle of middle school, when I was in ninth grade, and back then ninth grade was part of middle school. And that's when we moved. We moved to Virginia, the DMV area. And we moved right after the '94 earthquake that happened in Northridge, California. That's when my mom was, we had enough, we're moving, and we just got up and left.
Awesome. So Artin, you said you were Armenian descent, but you said you were born in Iran?
I'm born in Iran, yes.
Okay. So are you fluent in Farsi?
I know a little bit of Farsi. I'm Armenian, so we speak Armenian.
Okay.
My part of the family is from Iran, as you know. Armenians were all over the world. But I'm not fluent in Farsi. I'm fluent in Armenian.
Okay.
But I do understand and speak Farsi as well. Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious the background. So what made you born in Iran?
So this is back in the time Armenians kind of migrated in different countries. So some went to Syria, some ended up in Iran. We have Lebanon. So they're all over for Paris. France is another location where Armenians are. Even the U.S. has a lot of older Armenians, like the Philly area, New York area. And my family back then migrated in Iran, and that's where I think my grandpa was born there, my dad was born, and I was born there as well. So
how old were you when you left Iran and came to LA area?
I left right when I was in first grade. Actually, my journey to the U.S. was a long one, as back then, when the Iranian Revolution happened in '79, there was no American embassy in Iran. That's when people started leaving, and my family and Armenians were Christian living in an Islamic country. We decided we left to leave, and we left. And I was in first grade. So, and when we left, and it was a longer journey. We had to stay in India for 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I was in first grade, went to second, third in India. By the time I was in fourth grade, we ended up in the U.S.
Wow, that's an interesting story, Artin.
Yeah.
As far as your memories growing up, the first, let's say, 7 years of your life, what do you remember more vividly, growing up or living in Iran, or living that 2-year time frame in India?
I remember India very well. I think India actually set a lot of good experiences for me, that I saw a lot of things. And I always grew up very close to both my parents, specifically like during the India time, I hung out a lot with my dad. I was little. I loved working with my dad. So he took me to work, he took me to places. And when we moved to India, again, the places he went to, I was always with him. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. So, I had the opportunity or the privilege, the honor of hanging out with my dad a lot more than the other 2. So India kind of, painted a good experience for me. And that's what I remember the most. And this was in the 80s, early to mid 80s. So that's, that kind of stuck with me.
Sure. Where in India did you end up living for that 2-year period?
We were in New Delhi, India.
Okay. Yeah. I see. So you basically would just tag along with your dad when he would head to work.
Well, yeah, in India, he wasn't obviously, working too much, because it was a country and we're trying to come to the U.S. But whatever he did, whether it was going out, to do stuff, or it was work, I was always with him. Yeah.
Okay. So then from India, then you go to Los Angeles, or do you do another stop elsewhere?
No. From India, I went to LA. Yeah.
Okay. So then you end up in LA around what, 8, 9 years old or so?
When I was in LA, yeah, pretty much. I was, like I said, it was towards the end of fourth grade.
Okay.
So I would have been, probably
like
around 9 years old. Yeah.
Okay. There's a huge population. I think besides, it's same thing with Armenia and Iran. Besides there, I think LA area is just huge with Persians as well as Armenians.
Yeah. LA has obviously a lot of diversity, and there's a big Armenian community in LA, Glendale, Burbank area. Correct.
And very entrepreneurial too.
Oh yeah, I mean, Armenians were pretty much entrepreneurial. Yeah.
It's like you guys have that in your blood.
Yes. Yeah, whether it's good or bad, that's correct. Yeah.
No, that's good. It's always good to come out there and, think of different ways to do things, entrepreneurial, hustling, do whatever, obviously the legal way, but, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then you said you were in the LA area until what age?
So I moved here ninth grade, so I was about 14, 15 when I moved to the DC area. For a long time, even though I've been in the DC area for a long time, I used to say, I grew up in LA. But when you really think about it, I've been here longer than I've been in LA. But for whatever reason, my youth, stuck with me, and when we left, all the memories were there. And for a long time, even when I was here, going to school, every summer I went back, every opportunity I had, I went back. That's where my friends were. So throughout high school, I was probably in LA like the entire summer, every summer. So
you missed it a lot then.
Yeah, I mean, it was good time over there when we left. Absolutely, yeah.
What was it that you missed so much about it that you would always go there often?
I guess it was friends, mostly friends.
Okay.
Family, I have a lot of cousins. I'm part of a big family. So lots of cousins, lots of friends I had over there. And I guess it was the time of my youth as I was growing up. That's what I related to. Yeah.
Living there for the first period of your life and now being here for longer, obviously there's a huge difference between the East Coast or the Mid-Atlantic, which is where we are, and the LA area.
Absolutely. And I started noticing it when as I grew up more, like towards the end of high school, like in college, when I was visiting LA, I was starting to notice the big difference between the East Coast and the West Coast. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you still miss it, or what, as far as would you ever want to live there one day, or you're more now an East Coast person?
No, I think I became, once I got married, I kind of stopped going there for, consistently or as often.
Sure.
And then it kind of, drifted away. I have, very few ties over there now. It's been a while. I don't go there much often. I mean, last time I was there probably was 4 years ago.
Okay.
Unless if I do like a quick stop for work and stuff like that. Other than that, yeah.
I have family in Southern California as well, in the LA metro area, and I've only been there I think 2 or 3 times. I've been there a couple times, but it's a very different lifestyle compared to here, the East Coast. I don't know why I would feel it's more slower paced, even though obviously LA it's obviously a major city, but just I guess the personalities that I was interacting with when I was there my few times visiting was more calm, relaxed. And not to say we're not like that here, but I feel here East Coast is much more like fast. We got to be moving, and it may be different. Maybe it was just my experience.
Yeah, and also people interact differently over here too. And I think what happened, you asked me if I still go there and stuff. I think as my friends as we grew up and we got married and stuff, we kind of, didn't have that same vibe to it. So the less we saw each other, the less I had no ties to LA. It was more like, especially when Facebook, social media came into the picture, it was like I was talking to them anytime I wanted. Even now, pick up the phone, get on a Zoom call or whatever it is, so there's no reason for me to make that trip to LA. But yeah, I do agree that, it's a different lifestyle. One thing I don't miss at all over there is the traffic. Every time I go there, it reminds me of how bad the traffic is. Although I will tell you, the DMV area has been pretty bad too. So recently, but over there, it's a nightmare. You can get out at 11 p.m. and there's like traffic. There's bumper traffic. Yeah, so it's pretty bad. And what made it easier back then was because we had a house in Valencia, northern part of LA. It was easier for us to go back and forth, and I live close to Dulles Airport here. It was just a walk to go to the airport and take the flight, 4 or 5 hour flight, and then over there I didn't have to pack up luggage or anything because we had everything over there.
Sure. So when you come to this area, to the DMV, Art, you come to Northern Virginia, right?
That is correct. We ended up in Herndon, Virginia.
Okay. Okay. So you did high school all in Herndon?
Herndon High School, yep, instantly, and that's where I guess I grew up. Yeah.
And then after high school, what did you go to college or what happened next?
Yeah. So after high school, I went to George Mason University. Got a degree in economics. But between high school and Mason, I did study apprenticeship at doing heating and air conditioning. That's what my dad did. So I grew up in just helping it out in heating and air conditioning world, refrigeration, working a lot with restaurant refrigerations and stuff like that. So I earned or learned a lot of my background in the technical world through his job and with him.
Okay. So you finish your degree in econ, and then you have that experience in the HVAC world.
Right.
And then after that, economics and the HVAC world totally different. What do you think after graduation, what you want to go into?
I always knew I wanted to have my own thing. And the more I did heating and air conditioning, I mean, like I said, I worked with my dad since I was young. I mean, as far back as I remember, probably 6, 7-year-old, I used to go to work, hand him his tools, and kind of, and I've always been the type that I learned through observation. So when people do stuff like, no one taught me how to drive, right? I learned by watching other people drive, and that's when I picked up and I started, driving, right? So, and it was, for me, it was easy. When I watched people do it, it was easy. So by, going out with him, watching him, what he does and things like that, I picked up the heating and air conditioning, refrigeration. And as I worked, I always knew I wanted to do something, for me, for myself. So it was, after college, it was a no-brainer. It was like, Dad, I want to start this company, and, I'm going to piggyback off of the heating and air conditioning knowledge that I have and the company that we have.
So then just immediately right after college, you formed Arminco.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much after college, I took Arminco, and my goal was always, as I was doing heating and air conditioning, we worked a lot with restaurants because of refrigeration stuff. But my dream, I guess, what I liked was building the place, not just doing the air conditioning portion or the kitchen equipment portion of the place. So, in the beginning, I started building a couple of restaurants, and that's how I noticed that I wanted to have a business in construction.
Okay. So when you originally formed Arminco, it was more just on the HVAC, refrigeration, heating, cooling area, right?
No, well, Arminco was formed by my dad in HVAC, heating, cooling area when we moved to Virginia. That's correct. But when I took over, it became a general construction business. Now the heating and air conditioning portion of the business is still there. My brother runs it. But we drifted. It was now it's 2 separate companies. So when I formed it, it became a separate company.
Okay, I understand. So your dad established it, so he had the business Arminco, and it was focusing just on HVAC.
Correct.
And then you came along and you sort of opened the GC, the general contracting side of things.
That's correct, and that was around maybe 2002, 2003 area.
Okay. And I'm sure doing the construction work, especially for a company that its background was mostly in heating and cooling, was it easy or was it difficult trying to get those first few projects under your belt, or how was that experience?
Because the first 2 projects were like through restaurants and people we knew. It was easy getting the projects, but of course there was a big learning curve for me to understand the nature of the general construction world rather than just heating and air conditioning. There was more responsibility, more other fields that I had to get involved with and understand what's happening, and that's what I liked. So getting the projects, I wouldn't say it was hard. It was easier to get the projects. Going through a couple of them were, had its own challenges, but fortunately it worked out.
Sure. I mean, there's a learning curve to everything, especially if it's new.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I'm an observer. I learn through observations and stuff, and I know there's definitely a learning curve through everything and anything you do.
I like that, Art, though, from the very beginning, how influential and important was relationships. Because like you said, you already had relationship with other people who wanted to open that restaurant business. And then through there, you were able to get your foot in the door and get that experience, right?
Yep. I mean, to me, relationship is what builds my business. It builds me. It is who I am. And that's number one for me. So without it, a business can't really start or succeed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel the same way. I mean, that's why I think we're here today too, is just that relationship.
Yep.
It's all about that. So you started off with commercial kitchen restaurant build outs. And then from there, is it sort of stay there, or have you also gone into other niches as far as build outs and construction work?
No, and then what happened was in 2004, I stumbled into the dental industry. A friend of mine, his wife is a pediatric dentist, and she was having a horrible time, building her space with other contractors where, it wasn't fun for her. And then when I looked at it, I kind of helped her out, finishing the project. And through that project, I realized, the dental world, building dental offices is a great niche. And it's more so my style, the people. I got to know a lot of dentists. And by helping her out, I got to know a couple of other projects in that same building that ended up going with me. And soon I knew, and this was around 2004, I knew we had to, start, gearing towards the dental and medical world. And we remarketed our company and re-strategized and just started doing dental and medical.
Okay, yeah. It's great too, especially if you're walking into an office building, and not office building, but there's a lot of medical office buildings. So you have all these multiple floors, all type of healthcare and medical practitioners, which is great for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's the office buildings right now. The retail is hot too when it comes to dental specifically. So they're all over.
Yeah. For the build outs, are you still doing your restaurants, commercial build outs as well, besides just the healthcare medical field?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time we didn't, because we wanted to focus in the healthcare and medical, and we wanted to be the healthcare and medical guys in the area. But now for the past 3-4 years, we're doing almost any type of construction that comes in. Currently, I am building a couple of delis, a restaurant that I've actually personally myself invested in. So we're doing a restaurant right now. So yeah, we do it all. But we have our own dental medical division, so to speak, that concentrates on that.
Yeah. The totally two different build outs between medical field and of course the restaurant business. Are you personally, do you have a preference? Like, what do you like to work on?
So believe it or not, it's different build out, but there's a lot of similarities to it. For example, we got, in restaurant, you got the restaurant kitchen, which got heavy plumbing lines, heavy mechanicals and stuff like that. Same thing what happens to dental. Dental has a lot of plumbing lines. You got to know the equipment. Both actually involve a lot of knowing of the equipment. That's where my knowledge comes in because of my background, working on refrigerations for a long time. I got to know the refrigeration equipment. So it's easier for me to work in restaurant kitchens, understand the concept, understand how it needs to be functioning. When we came to dental, because of my background, the first thing I did, I studied the equipment. What do dentists have? What do they need? How the functionalities need to be? And the more projects we did, the more relationships I created, where I started talking to these dentists, going into the practices. I've actually been in practices watching them work, right? So that I understand what they're going through, and I'm able to click with them a lot better. That's what makes me understand the functionality and do the right thing.
I'm starting to see here a picture as far as you learning by just being there from at a young age, from your tagging along with your father and helping him, to even now as an adult with just observing your client, whether it's a dentist or a restaurant operator and owner, and seeing how they use the equipment and everything else on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my life, mostly just observing, learning, understanding. When I'm interested in something, I want to know more and more about it.
That's great. You don't know how many times, Art, I have clients that, whether medical or even restaurants, they're like, oh yeah, I have a contractor. I'm like, okay, great. And I tell them, do they specialize in restaurant build outs? Do they specialize in medical or dental build outs? They're like, oh yeah, they did a great job in my basement at my house. I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and what sets us apart right now, we're actually more than just a contractor, where we, throughout time became more than just a contractor. What I mean is we do the drawings. So we have an architectural design department. And we do, on the dental medical side, we provide the dental equipment. So we're able to basically get the office up and running without the doctor going through any aggravation, headaches, and they'll just be ready to do their business as long as they concentrate on their business, opening it and running it. We have the rest covered.
Sure, that's great. You mentioned just earlier how you have a different team that focuses on the dental medical side and all. And I know you said your brother also still sort of works on the HVAC side of the business. And I'm sure having a team and having the right players in the team is extremely important. How do you go about finding and surrounding yourself with that right team?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. You got to be open-minded. The right people in the company that's been with me for a long time, all came by, mostly recruitment, like knowing who they are, making sure, you create a relationship and then bringing them on board. But you got to have your eyes open. In this day, I think having the right players is the key for a successful business. And it doesn't come easy. Especially nowadays, everyone has staffing issues. Even our clients that we work with, they're all calling me and saying, it's hard to find staff. What do we do? How do we find them and things like that? So that's tough. I guess that's more of a understanding, more so, who's who, and kind of get a good feel for it when you talk to them and bringing them on board and connecting yourself. But I like connecting myself to a lot of smart people. Makes me look smarter. So, I'm always on the lookout for that. Yes.
That's true. I mean, finding the right people is important. And I know especially now with COVID in the restaurant business, they're having a huge shortage in finding the right candidate, just because a lot of people have left the industry because of COVID and went into other things. And now a lot of these restaurant operators are having difficulties finding that right team to bring back, since now we're opening.
Yeah, it's tough, but hopefully another 4, 5, 6 months, things will go back to, how it used to be, hopefully.
Yeah. So as far as your team how big is the whole company or division? How does that work?
So Arminco, we have employed about 50 people right now, but it goes up and down depending on the time of the year. So we're about 50 people. We're located in Sterling, Virginia, close to Dallas Airport. That's our base. And our people, we have project managers, architects, designers, laborers, technicians. So we've employed all kinds, and most people have background in the dental medical world, so that they're able to understand that aspect of the business, and are able to work around it and put their input in and so on.
As far as finding the right people, are you mostly finding them through online job posting, or is it referral, word of mouth?
Finding the right people, like I said, is hard. Mostly, we obviously every company does job posting. We do job posting, but most of the people that we have hired, it's word of mouth. Like a referral base. Like if you knew someone, you said, "Oh, this guy might be good. Why don't you talk to them?" I might talk to them and kind of see what they do. Carry it through and kind of observe them and watch what they've done and all that. Create that relationship, and then bring them on board. If the opportunity, if there's an opportunity for both parties, we'd bring them on board.
Sure.
So most of the right people, I would say, then still are with me and have been with me for a long time. That's how we find them.
That's great.
Yeah.
What would you say drives and motivates you now?
In the business world, or
business, it can be personal too.
Yeah. Right now, where I'm at, what drives and motivates me is my family. I got a beautiful wife. I got 4 kids, 3 daughters, 1 boy. So every day, it's motivation for me to keep up with them, be able to spend more time with them. How do I, create more time and all that. So that motivates me more than anything right now.
That's a good sized family. 4. You said 3 girls and a boy, right?
3 girls and a boy, yes.
What's the age range? How old is the oldest and the youngest?
The oldest is almost 15.
She's a teenager.
She's in high school right now. Yeah.
Oh, that must be fun.
Yeah, she's in high school. She's a 9th grader, finishing up actually.
Oh, congrats.
So 15, and the youngest is 7.
Okay.
She's gonna be 6 actually. She's gonna be 7, but she's gonna go to 1st grade next year.
Okay. You and your wife are busy.
Yeah, we got our hands full. Absolutely.
Is your wife also Armenian or no?
My wife is also Armenian, from Armenia. She moved here in 2001.
Okay, nice. So at home, is it Armenian or is it English or a little bit of mixture?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think every family does that. You go back and forth. Me and my wife, we speak mostly Armenian, but the kids, obviously, mostly English when they talk to each other. But with us, we try to speak Armenian to keep the language alive and going.
That's good. It's great for kids, especially at a young age, to learn a different language. And I try to do that at home too with my wife. I have three boys, and try to learn different language. And they picked it up, but then after a while, all they want to do is just speak English.
I think that's natural, right? Because when school they speak English, when they're watching TV it's English and stuff, and then so when they talk to each other it becomes English. But yeah, we try to we make them learn Armenian. They go to they take classes in Armenian, so so that they have their time. But I think it's important to be bilingual because it gives you an opportunity to understand different cultures, understand different languages. It becomes easier for them to learn other languages as well. I know my eldest daughter has just picked up Spanish, is taking Spanish in high school, and she's doing pretty good. So it's easier for her to learn Spanish only because she speaks two other languages.
Yeah, that's good. I'm hoping he would come around. At least for us, their first language was Russian, and then their second language was Spanish. So my oldest one, when he entered elementary school, he only really knew Russian, Spanish, and then a little bit of English, but now it just flip-flop. The good thing is that he understands. So when he hears someone speaking in Russian or Spanish, he comprehends. He used to speak it, but now it's more speaking the English.
In Armenia, Russian is their second language. So my wife's brother speaks fluently. So that's what they speak. So by doing that, my son comes to me and said, I want to learn Russian. I want to know what they're saying.
Yeah, that's good. Artin, you started the company at such a young age, right out of college. What advice would you give someone if they come to you and say, hey, I want to start up my own business, whatever it may be, whether it's the construction site, HVAC, or anything else? What are some advice you would give that individual if they came to you and wanted to do that?
I would say don't be afraid is the best advice. Don't be afraid to fail. That's the most important thing. I think most people talk about doing things or starting something, but then the fear of failing kind of sets them back. That's one trait I would say. Earlier on I was telling you I was close to my dad and my mom, but I never talked about my mom. I had my mom to son talks as I was growing up in high school. So that's one thing she taught me. She had the ability not to be afraid, and she kind of pushed us into doing things that we wanted to do. So coming out of college or anytime you want to do something, as long as you have a plan, as long as you have a successful plan, and if you believe in yourself, you gotta go forward. You gotta push yourself forward. Now, at the same time, I'm not saying be blinded by things or have an exit strategy, have an out, but don't be afraid to move forward and try what you want to do.
I love that. And I think that's very important as far as not being afraid to fail or having setbacks, because I'm sure in the beginning and even now, after all these years and experience, you still have setbacks. And I think that's part of business, is just you need to look at how to fix them. I mean,
the biggest setback that took off of, blinded by everyone was the COVID. Nobody was expecting COVID-19 happening. It set a lot of businesses back. A lot of businesses had to make a lot of adjustments. And this is something that comes and you got to be ready for it. So it's an everyday, life, everyday business decisions that you got to make.
I'm glad you mentioned COVID. How did that affect you personally and your business? Was there any setbacks, or, I mean, especially in construction, a lot of people have grown during this time.
Sure. Setbacks, yeah. I mean, our challenges in construction, and because we do drawings, architectural and permits and stuff like that, our challenges were in the beginning stages. It was counties pulling permits. Things just got slower. From a construction standpoint, construction did not stop. We continued working on the field. We were careful. We had to deliver because we didn't know what was going to happen. We couldn't just stop. So yeah, we were working. However, the future projects, when we're pulling permits and things like that, just got slower. And now we're still experiencing that problem where counties used to give us permits for a month. Now it's taking 2 months. Everything just got slow. And as far as recently, there are some material shortages that we're experiencing. So, steel is hard to find, plastic is hard to find. So anything related to construction is becoming very challenging right now. And I knew it when COVID first happened. People were like, aren't you worried? I'm like, I'm not worried now, but I am worried for us, 9-10 months from now, because I can already see things will be backed up. Everything will go slower, and that's what's happening. Manufacturers are having a tough time, pumping out products.
So it's going to be a lot of more hand-holding with your customers and clients then, as far as being patient, right?
And prices are also rising. There's this thing going on where nobody knows, is the price is rising? Is it a temporary status? Is this how it's going to end up being? So it's a little bit of a trial error time right now.
Wow.
Trying to figure out what's happening.
But overall, in the general scheme of things, the past, let's say 18, 24 months, did you have more projects? Did business grow, or did it sort of slow down for a period of time?
I guess the business was steady for a period of time. But I will say in the past 5 months, business has grown. Yes.
Oh, that's great to hear. Awesome.
I can see more and more people wanting to do more and more things. And that's part of the reason why there are material shortages.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to do something right now.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it's picked up.
Yeah, I think that's the same in most every industry. When I talk to our clients, dentists, they're like operating. They're operating 125, 150%. So they're better than it was pre-COVID. So and the only challenge they're having is finding good help.
There you go again.
Otherwise, I think overall, businesses are doing better.
Art, well, what is it that you're most proud of thus far in your business career? I know you started this, early 2000, so almost going into 20 years, right?
Yeah, we started in 2002. I started doing dental only in 2004. What am I the most proud of? I'm most proud of having the privilege of employing all these people that we have. I think like we said, good people are hard to find. Good people make a company great. I'm honored and privileged to have sit here and say we employ great people, and I'm happy to be part of it.
That's awesome. That's great. Are there any specific, let's say, habits or skills that come to mind that you use frequently, whether on a daily basis, that have helped you personally or in your business?
Habit, let's see. I'm an observer. So when I talk to people, I always like to know their background, and I try to understand where they're coming from. For me, nothing is black and white. Everything that someone says, there's a meaning behind it. I try to find what that is and kind of apply it to what I know. And, not to switch the subject, but I play poker. I relate poker to life a lot more, because you're using the same skills there as well, understanding what moves your opponent's making, or the person you're talking to is making, what he means by what he said, and all that stuff. So that's probably one of the habits or skills that I have, is just understanding the person that I'm talking to.
I love that analogy you just gave with poker and business. So from the sounds of it, it's not just technical skills with poker, but you're using more of the mentality. How are they thinking, right?
Yeah. We got to know what they're thinking, what they're doing, and what the hardest part is, what they're doing, what they're thinking that I'm thinking, right? What they're thinking that you're thinking. So that's an everyday life. Believe it or not, it happens. You just don't think about it.
Are you a pretty good poker player?
Yeah, I try.
So, better businessman or better poker player?
Better businessman.
All right, that's good. I think that's better. That's just my personal opinion.
But in business, I do a lot of analogies in poker and sports. I'm a sport guy, so most of my analogies when I give to my guys, they start rolling their heads really good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Art, what would you say right now is your biggest challenge in your role with Arminco?
Biggest challenge is, being part of the team without interrupting, because what we have said, everyone has their roles. Everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to help the business grow. And as an owner, sometimes you can't help, but when something goes wrong, you naturally take over and you want to fix it, right? Or you want to help them to fix it. And what I'm realizing is, I'm more and more laid back and allowing them to fix it. But what kind of is tough to control is when you do that, sometimes things don't go the way you want it to go. So it's I guess having control without having control. We're at that spot, that sweet spot right now, where the next step could be huge. And I realized that our next step, if I learn how to do that, will take us on another level.
Okay, that's great. So speaking of another level, if that happens, what are you thinking as far as the future?
Well, right now, in the Delaware market, what we want to do is we want to grow to be a nationwide company. We have multiple projects on a national level, most of them on the East Coast, but we've done some West Coast projects. And before COVID, we had plans of going, full national. However, when COVID happened, everything got set back because there was no traveling and stuff. And because we are for startup practices, for practices that, are starting, we're the best company for that, without a doubt, because we know how to start it. We know the budget it takes to start it. We know how much of them should spend money starting it. And, if we take it, we know we can get the client up and running and where he'll be successful. And, that's the plans. The plans has been to go national, and that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, that's great. And your focus nationally was going to be only on the dental practice side of things, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Now, how are you thinking of implementing that? I know headquarters and base is Northern Virginia. So as far as scaling this out nationally, what were going to be the next steps?
So we manage the practice from the beginning, where we help the clients, locate a space. We work with realtors for them to locate the space. And when you do that, you understand what the space is and the budget that's required to build that space. That will include the entire project, which is the dental equipment, the cabinetry that's required, the IT, the construction, the design and architectural, as well as having money for a working capital, for marketing, for hiring staff, for training staff, and all that stuff. So when we're looking at the whole picture, we're managing that project as a whole. So
from the start, basically from the start to the end.
That is correct. And,
okay.
I always tell, doctors always ask me, when you get involved. I'm like, the minute you think about opening a dental practice, that's when it starts for you.
Okay.
Right? You want to do it. You got to now start planning.
Okay, that's great. So for that, were you going to open an office elsewhere, or was your team going to start flying at first? And
right now we have project managers. Like one of my project managers actually lives in California, so we can have management that travels.
Okay.
We don't need to necessarily be there 24/7. And different part of the different projects, we need to be in different locations. So, as in when we start the process, right? You're looking for spaces. So we're working with realtors, just locate spaces. When the spaces are selected, we evaluate it, we understand the building, therefore we understand the cost, right? We help our clients select between the 2-3 that they're looking at, which one's the better location to go into. So we don't necessarily need to be there all the time. And then when it goes into design and architectural stages, again, we don't need to be there. We have to visit it, make sure we have all the dimensions required, everything that we need to know, and then the drawings, the design is done in our headquarters.
Sure.
Now, when the construction starts for that short period of time, which normally takes 3 months or so to finish, maybe 10 to 12 weeks to finish the construction, that's the time where we will be in that area for a longer period of time.
Okay, I understand. Okay, wow, that's
great. But the possibility of having satellite offices in different areas exists, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Now, I'm curious, for the marketing side of things, how are you finding these nationwide clients? Are you doing something, or how are you going about?
So we actually have our first we go to the several shows, like the AAPD, the AAO, we're always there. We've been doing that for a while. We have our own podcast. I don't know if you've heard. It's called Synergy Practices, powered by Arminco Inc.
Oh, okay.
So we put our stuff out there, and we interview people just like you do. We try to bring in doctors, dentists, and talk about the industry and educate it. And we do like CE courses. My entire philosophy has always been to educate the doctors. The more you educate the client, the more better decisions they can make. For me, it's never, hire me and that's it. For me, it's giving you the skills, giving you the knowledge you need to hire the right person. And if that right person happens to be us, we're happy to be part of the team, and we're there from the beginning all the way to the end of the practice. That's when you retire, not when the construction is over.
I love it. You and I think alike. I didn't know about the podcast. That's great, Art.
Yeah, we do podcasts, and then social media is another big thing that we do. So, and then word of mouth. I think the better I guess businesses, or the great businesses, most of their clients work on word of mouth. I think we have a lot of dedicated clients. We've, like I said, been doing this since 2004, and take away the first 3 years where we didn't do too many offices. After that, we've been averaging 40, 50 practices a year. So we have a lot of clients, a lot of dedicated clients that, continuously work with us or refer us. And that's kind of, gone, on the national level recently. So
that's great. What would you say, Artin, besides maybe word of mouth being number one as far as where you get the majority of your business and projects, what would you say would be second or third? Would it be the conferences or shows, or would it be more just online?
The conferences and the CE credits that we do, speaking events. Yeah, okay. That's how you get to know in the industry.
Okay, great. And you're the one speaking, or you have some part of other members of your team doing all this?
Other members, other people, I speak. Sometimes we connect with other people in the industry to speak. Depends on what the topic is.
Sure.
One of our last speaking events, live speaking events before COVID, because we haven't had a live one. One of our last live one was talking about imaging. So we had a person that was in imaging, been doing it for a while. She came out and did the speaking for us.
And she comes out to your office there? That's where you're holding the events? Or?
Depends. Our speaking events can be different places. We've done speaking events in California, Texas. So it varies. But in this one particularly, yes, it was in Starling, Virginia. It wasn't in my office, but it was in a hotel, lobby in Starling, Virginia.
I love the part too about educating, and I think that's huge. That's tremendous, and that's actually one of the main reasons I have this is just just the local business community, educating them and sharing their story of how you became what you are now and your success.
Yeah, I think that's one of the toughest thing in my industry. It's educating the clients, because it's not black and white. There's a lot of companies, a lot of people out there that try to make it cookie cutter. They try to make it one size fits all, but that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in any business, and it doesn't exist. And that's the toughest thing when dentists come to me is like, what's the secret sauce? It depends on your business, right? Yes, you're a general dentist. Yes, the guy next to you is a general dentist, but no two businesses are alike. So you've got to understand what it is you want to do first before you can go and get there.
Yeah, that's great. Or knowing what you know now, would you have changed anything, or what do you wish you would have known at the beginning of your career?
Well, obviously, knowing more about the industry would have changed everything to get off the ground. I could have been probably 5 years earlier, or getting things started earlier, knowing what I know now. Yeah, I mean, probably to get things off and going faster, I would say. So that's one thing I would have changed. Done it earlier.
So growing much faster.
Not necessarily growing the company much faster. What I'm saying is putting, because when we started from construction. Then we put our architecture and design department together. Then equipment came together, right? So the gaps were a little bit longer. What I know now, I would have done it all at the same time.
Just brought everything in-house. You had everything together. Okay.
Correct. All from the beginning. But the tough part was, obviously, we had to be known in the industry for like dental manufacturers to respect us, know that, we're able to service and install these products. to be able to open us up to become a dental dealer and be able to provide the product. So that takes time. And I would say, in business, in life itself, everything, you got to be ready for it, but everything has its own time as well.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't jump too, fast in it. You got to know, be ready for it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
When I say the word success, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh man, success for me is, knowing what you want and having the ability to go and get it. So it's not necessarily, for me, the most successful person is not the richest person or the person that has a lot. It could be an idea. It could be, you want to be a great teacher and you want to go get that, right? That, for me, that's success. It could be family related. You want to have a great family and you want to go get it. That, for me, that's success. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, that's good.
Setting the target and getting the target.
Go after it, yes.
Okay.
When did you have any big mentors or any person that's influenced you the most throughout your life, and what did you learn from that person?
I never had like a mentor where I can say this person taught me everything. Like I said, I was an observer. People mentored me without knowing they're mentoring me. I can name a lot of people out there that they probably didn't know had a big influence on me learning from them. And like I said, in growing up, the top two would be my parents first, my mom and my dad. I learned a lot from them. I had a basketball coach in 8th grade I learned a lot from. In this industry, I had a couple of people, that I learned from the minute I got into the industry to kind of grab me and, they did things or they did things without knowing, or they told me things without knowing that I picked up. A couple of names just to put out there, shout out to them. Steve Marshall is one of them that's been in the industry for a while. He has the Marshall Marketing Group that, everyone in the industry in the DMV area knows him. Another one that, I haven't talked to for a while, I kind of missed him talking to him, has been Joe Flumian, who's been in the banking world of the dental industry. So yeah, these guys have always done or said things that, help me understand the industry. Patty Brown is another one who's a realtor out there that I've kind of, worked with and picked her brain out a lot. Another one in the IT world has been Armin Rafunia. I kind of grew the business with him and, kind of picked his brain and kind of bounced ideas back and forth to each other. So my mentors have always been, me observing, they not really knowing what they're doing, but or they're helping me out, but they are. So, but I can't pick one mentor that I can say this is it. I learned from it. But I looked up to people as well. So that's what inspired me.
That's great. And I feel the same way as far as I'm like that, as not ever losing that curiosity, just wanting to know why is this happening? And maybe we could improve it or change things. And you can have as much success in life, but I think if you don't lose that curiosity, you would go a lot further.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. In life, you got to be curious. You got to have inspiration. You got to want something. You got to get it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, besides expanding the dental practice nationwide, is there something else as far as the future, maybe what the next 3 to 5 years look like for you in Arminco?
For me, Arminco, we're always going to be expanding. That's what drives me is, getting to the next. What's next? I always ask, what's next? What's tomorrow, right, for Arminco? But me personally, like I said, I love investing in businesses now, being part of different businesses. So anything that I'm eyeing that interests me, I will probably, especially now that I have Arminco being run by great people and they know what they're doing. They don't want me as involved as I was before. And, I'll always be involved. I'll always be part of Arminco. But, I want to make sure I expand my own personal investments. So that's why I'm doing this restaurant. I'm investing in the restaurant that's going to be located in Ashburn. Hopefully we'll be opening in end of August, early September. It's called Bourbon. It's going to be a bayou kitchen, southern kitchen dish, bar type of thing. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I'm looking to do.
I like that. So besides investing in restaurants, I don't know if you invested in others. Are they any other things that you like to sort of go into and focus on investing on the business side of things?
Well, there's a couple of things we're looking at. And obviously, being in the industry of the dental industry, I'm looking to team up with a couple of DSOs out there, dental management groups that, open up multiple and buy multiple practices to expand. So, and then the real estate. I'm doing some development where we already built a bunch of townhouses in Alexandria. We build it off of the street Buckman, and the new street is called Safarian Way, which is after my so yeah, we built townhouses there. We're doing some in DC. We're building about 16 condos in DC, and a bunch of other residential houses that I've recently designed, built it, and sold it. So I am always in the real estate market. So that's part of what I'll be always doing. So those are things that are right now interesting to me. Yeah.
That's great. I see you have your hands full there, Art.
Yeah, I try to keep myself busy.
That's good. It's good. It's unproductive things and good and great things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Coming to an end here, but my last question, when you're not busy running all these projects and businesses, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
That's a great question. I like sports, obviously. I told you I played soccer when I was younger. I played basketball when I was younger. So, the European Cup, Euro 2020 is about in the corner, about to start. So we're going to be watching that. I like to play soccer, play basketball, hang out with my kids. My son is also into sports, so try to hang out with them as much as possible, playing the sport. My youngest daughter is also a lot into sports. So, we try to do that. And when there's time, I try to hit a casino here and there for gambling.
That's good. The kids you mentioned that are in sports, are any of them into your favorite sport, soccer and basketball?
Yeah, my son loves basketball. My two daughters, they love soccer and basketball. My youngest daughter loves soccer. She's doing great in soccer. But the middle one, well, it's not the middle one because it's the third one, Diana loves basketball and soccer, and tries to get as active as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's nice to see it when you're kids and that they like what you like too, and you have that you can bond over.
Yeah, it's important because like you said, you can bond over. Yeah.
Yeah. So where can people find you? If they want more information about you, Art, and Arminco, and they're curious, where can they find out some more information?
So, obviously they can go on our website, armincoinc.com. From there they can, find any information they want about the company. And I do have a section there on the website that talks about a little bit about my background and who I am and all that stuff. Feel free to email me. I'm a very, easily reachable person. Emails, phones, texts. I definitely keep the communication alive and make sure, I interact with everybody.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure being here. It's great to be part of the show. And thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me.
Of course. The pleasure's all mine. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.